All right, guys, welcome back to another From the Pitch Up. I'm Matt.
And I am Paulo, and we're your hosts. And today we have a special guest, our coach, Gregory Ceithaml.
Hey everybody, Greg Ceithaml here.
Yeah, so this is episode 4. Before we start, I would just ask you guys if you could subscribe to both the YouTube or Spotify, whatever you listen to. It really helps the channel grow, and that would be fantastic. Coach, if you could just give us a little introduction about what you do at the club other than just coaching, and then you can also go into coaching too.
Sure. About 2.5 years ago, Matt Davis, the founding president of our club, came to me and asked if I'd be interested in being a part of the group, and at that point I thought it would be fun, so I said yes. And since then I've never regretted it. Had a great time. You know, we put together a number of sponsors, got a lot of support for the group. Our club is growing, as evidenced by these fine gentlemen here, a number of interns, a lot of volunteers, and I'm excited for the direction in which this whole club is moving, because I think Holland and the Holland area is a soccer-loving community, and I think Tulip City is a great way to express that.
Yeah, Coach, I would love to hear kind of how you got into coaching, how you got into soccer, and why have you continued coaching throughout the years?
Sure. Well, it's a long story, so I'm going to try and give you the short, sweet version. I grew up playing soccer here in West Michigan back when soccer was in its infancy. Loved the game. Then I went off to college in North Carolina. I played on a traveling club team at Duke University. Had a great time, but unfortunately my soccer career was cut short when I suffered a pretty serious concussion against the University of Virginia. When I hit the turf, I didn't remember who I was. I lost my memory for a day. Doctor said, you should probably ease off the competitive soccer. So I did for a number of years, but then in my senior year, I put together another club. We started traveling around, had a lot of fun. Then I went off to graduate school at the University of Florida, started coaching there, enjoyed it. As soon as I got my first job in North Carolina at Hoggard High School, I joined the soccer staff, and I was very fortunate. Hoggard High School had a great program. They were ranked 18th in the nation, and so I gained a lot of valuable experience there with my friends Peter Dietz, Peter Valinsky. We had a great time, but after 2 years, moved up to Michigan. Fortunate enough to get a job here at Holland High School, and the founding coach of soccer at Holland High School, Ryan Wolfert, made it publicly known that he was retiring the very next year. So after a year of volunteering, I took over as a varsity coach, and I've been the varsity coach at Holland, the men's varsity coach, for the last 27 years. And more recently, I've coached JV women's soccer, but I just took over the varsity soccer position about 7 years ago. So again, the opportunity to coach a more competitive team, an older team, a more experienced team. I was nervous, quite frankly, but I've enjoyed every minute of it.
So, coaching high school, I mean, you coached JV women's team and then numerous of years of varsity. How do you see the skill difference between the TCU players and the high schoolers? And do you think some high schoolers, will make an appearance for the TCU team soon, or do you think, some guys still have to develop there?
That's a great question, and I would say that there are a lot of excellent high school players in this area. However, that being said, they do lack a certain experience that the college guys bring with them, competing at a very high level. And quite frankly, this is summer ball, so it is not as intense or competitive as it probably is in the college seasons. But at the same time, when you bring this many good players together, the level of intensity ramps up very quickly. So to me, that's fun, because I feel like I'm learning. I'm stretching myself. I'm gaining experience, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, Coach, what's kind of been the, biggest difference from you when coaching your high school players compared to the TCU players? Is it a little bit more development? in high school and just giving the TCU players just a little bit more structure, or how do you balance that? What's been, I guess, the biggest difference?
Yeah. Well, at the high school level, even with excellent players, you're teaching a lot of fundamentals, you're teaching a lot of techniques, but you're also teaching a mindset. You're trying to teach players to get the most out of their potential, both on the field and off the field. As a high school coach, it's just as important to me that my players are responsible citizens. They are academically inclined. They do the things that they need to do so that that next step is a successful one for them. The college players I've been working with lately, they they have that drive. They have that that desire to better themselves, to be as technically strong as possible. They'll work on small skills until they can do them consistently. And so my role as a Tulip City United coach is not to teach as much as just to guide and help the team reach its potential as a collective, rather than teaching some of the fundamentals that I do at the high school level.
Yeah, and I guess what's been that fulfillment for you? Why do you continue coaching? What do you get from coaching other than it just being a job? Why is that what you chose as your career path?
That's a great question. And last week when I was coaching the women's varsity and it was 28 degrees, the freezing rain and windy, I was questioning my career path. But I'll tell you, I am so lucky to have the position I have, because to be out here on the field with young men and women competing, trying to put together the puzzles to make this season as successful as possible. It keeps me young, it keeps me competitive, it keeps me out of trouble otherwise. I am so fortunate to have this opportunity. I'm over 50 years old. I still have to worry about cleats and training gear, and the days that I get to go out on the field are my favorite days. So again, I'm very fortunate to have the position, but also to have such an understanding family. My wife is very supportive, and I couldn't do any of this without her blessing and her support.
Yeah, and kind of, I guess, jumping off of that, you also don't have to coach for Tulip City. It's all volunteer work. It's not necessarily a career job. Why do you do Tulip City other than it just being competitive? What does that kind of give back to you, specifically with Tulip City?
Well, it's the world's greatest hobby for me. We work in the off season of solidifying the sponsorships, making sure we have the support we need, building the club, and then everything points to the season. And quite frankly, when the first tryout date hit, it's like Christmas all over again, because again, I can't believe that I'm in this position where players from all over West Michigan, 10 different colleges and universities. We got guys coming from Muskegon, Grand Rapids, St. Joe, Kalamazoo, from all over to come together and be on this team. It's just a lot of fun. Quite frankly, it's a lot of fun, and I absolutely love it.
So with having guys from 10 different universities and coming all over, like St. Joe, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Muskegon, do you see any how do you put it, competitiveness towards I'm going to be the best on the pitch? Do you see that? Do you have to tell the guys to tone it back a little bit, or do you just tell them just let it all out on the pitch?
That's a great question, because these are very competitive athletes. They want to play. They want to be on our 18-man roster for each match, and I haven't had to face that ultra competitiveness against one another. But I think we were also, by we, I mean myself, Chris Hofflin, Grant Hofflin, the other coaches of Tulip City United. We were very specific in picking players that we thought would fit the group, and we came up with a great group of guys who so far have worked so well together. They've complemented each other, they've pushed each other, and I love that competitive edge. Each one of these guys would do just about anything to win, but at the same time, they're upstanding members of our community. They're great role models, and I'm very happy with the group. And it seems as though the more we do this, the better the group becomes, because now we have a mix of guys that we were familiar with from last season, our first season, when quite frankly I didn't know what to expect. Everything was brand new to me, and now we have a nice mix of experienced players and new players, and quite frankly we have a lot of very strong players. I think we've improved in skill and stamina and quickness. So to answer your question, they're all competitive, but right now we've got a great mix of personalities.
Yeah, when making that roster, I guess, how do you, from a coach's perspective, pick those players that would fit, I guess, together well? Because just from my experience with the team, everyone I feel like is so welcoming, everyone's so nice to each other, everyone's showing up, just joking around, having fun with each other. What do you do at tryouts to, like, I guess, pick those things out? Was it just luck of the draw, or do you like purposely see how people interact with each other at tryouts, or how intentional are you with that? And I mean, just from my experience, the teams turned out very well, so I didn't know if it was an intentional thing or it kind of just happened.
Well, yeah, I would love to. I mean, luck has a certain part in this, but at the same time, I don't know if people understand how I can't be the only. Most coaches look at tryouts, because we had a great group. I think we had 90 people signed up. When all's added in, I think we had 70 players trying out for 29 spots. And quite frankly, the skill level was very high. So just about all the players had skill, ability. But as a coach, I think most players should know that as much as I watched the players on the pitch, watched them in their drills, watched them in competitions, I watched them on the sidelines. I watched their body language. I watched how they reacted to things. I looked for the guys who rip off their tape, and I try and see, you know, which ones throw it away and which ones leave it on the turf, and you know, all these little things that reveal someone's character. You know, we're watching those things, and in the end, we're looking for not only great players, but I'll give up an excellent player who I don't think is going to fit in the group or may not be the best role model. I'll happily give them up for a lesser player that I think will fit in the collective and play team ball to make the whole team better. So yeah, we watch the players very carefully, both on and off the field, when we're making selections.
So I believe in a couple of weekends we're having a Holland versus Holland Christian alumni match. So what names are you really like looking forward to seeing coming out and, you know, showing out against, you know, our rival here in Holland?
Yeah, well, yeah, we. I love the idea of having the Holland Christian alumni game, because, like I said, this is a great soccer-loving community, and there is a natural rivalry between Holland and Holland Christian, and you know this firsthand, having played at Holland High School. After 27 seasons, there are so many faces and names that bring up so many great memories, both on the field, and you know, we always try to take the players away, take them on trips, overnights, camping trips, all kinds of events, and really get to know the players and watch them grow, watch their siblings, their brothers, their sisters grow, and it's really become a group organization, a family organization. So when you ask what players am I looking forward to seeing, you know, there are so many. I am lucky, because in this small community, I get to see so many players, former players, on a regular basis. See them in the stores, walking down the streets. Tulip time right now, they're all over the place, and it's just fun because each player, men's and women's, just conjure up so many good memories, and a lot of them took place on the field. A lot of those memories took place off the field at team dinners and overnight trips, and again, so many reasons why I am thankful to be a soccer coach and to have been one for 27 years here. Well, it's just been a great job.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. Just I feel like from my 4 years of high school, I feel like I gained so many friendships and all those pasta dinners before games, and I mean all those the fun conditioning and the hot weather. I mean so many memories. I can't even imagine for
The 2-a-days.
yeah how many people and how many memories there are. So, I mean, what's that going to mean for you, I guess, at that game? Is it just going to be being able to see those faces again, being able to relive those memories again, tell those stories again? I guess what are you looking most forward to that match?
Yeah, we just seeing those players and their families and see the men they've grown into is wonderful. I guess hard to describe it. We were lucky enough to be pretty successful in 2017 and made it to the state finals and won a championship, and just to see all these former players come back and support the team and be part of the program again, it's undescribable. It's just so much fun, and like you said, everything from team dinners, little jokes out on the field, bad injuries. There were some tears, there was some frustration, but you go through all those emotions together as a group, and you create a bond. And I've said it before, but for 27 years I've had a very extended family with so many sons and daughters who played soccer for Holland High School that it's truly something. But I will say this: that game's going to be competitive. As much as I'd like to make it a reunion event, there is still that rivalry, Holland Christian, that will, I feel, take over at some point, because these schools have great pride. Both schools have great pride in their programs, and players and families that have really bought in, become a part of it. And so there's no doubt in my mind, both groups will want to be successful in that game.
I love it. I guess moving back into Tulip City and looking kind of at the roster again this year, what's most excited you about the roster this year? What personalities are you excited to see out on the field? What do you think you did well last year? What were the strengths and what weaknesses were there? And I guess, how do you see this team either playing into those strengths or maybe mitigating those weaknesses from last year?
Yeah, that's a great question. Last year, as the season progressed, you look back and think, what was this team known for? And it turns out we were a pretty strong defensive group. We gave up fewer goals than any other team in the Midwest Premier League, and that kept us in a lot of matches, close matches, especially away matches, which are very difficult points to win. This year, the season's so young, it's hard to really pinpoint what I think the strength of this team will be. But I will say I'm very excited about the diversity of the team. We have so many different types of players from all over. We have a player from England, we have a player from Ghana, we have a couple players from Brazil, we have players from Michigan, we have players from Indiana and Ohio, played college soccer there. Just so many different backgrounds, different experiences, and yet we've all come together in this beautiful game and really mixed together well, great personalities. And right now, one of the greatest sources of pride is just seeing the guys on the sideline and seeing how they all communicate with one another and how they all get along so well. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's been, I think, really fun to just be a part of the team this year. I feel like everyone is kind of always just joking around on the sideline. I feel like I can go up to anybody on the team and kind of talk to them. And I don't know, I feel like that's going to translate to a lot of success. I feel like last year the team was pretty close, but I think there was different clicks, and I feel like this year it's a lot of more college guys coming from around the same experience. So I feel like there's been a little bit more connection through there. What, I guess, are you doing in practice to kind of gel the team even closer together, or get the team even clicking a little bit more than maybe we would be if we were just left to our own devices.
Sure. Well, first off, before I answer that question, let me just say that one of my personal goals from last season was that I wanted to, with meager resources, a brand new club starting for the first time. We never even bought soccer balls last season. We used other private soccer balls for our practices. One of the goals I had was to create a club that people respected, people wanted to be a part of, that people would want to return to. And I think a lot of those goals were met when we had tryouts, and I saw so many faces wanting to come back. Jordan Walker's a great example of that. He won the Golden Boot for the last 2 years in the Midwest Premier League, once in Illinois, and then he came here, was playing at Western Michigan University, won the Golden Boot again for Tulip City last year. He graduated from school. He's getting married this summer. Huge summer for him, and he wanted to come back and play. And you know, he's not the only one, but it's those types of stories that make me feel good about what we've done so far. As far as team building right now, you know, I gotta say, we don't have a lot of time. The guys are still in spring season at Kalamazoo College. Guys are working and training with other clubs and playing as much soccer as they can. We don't have a lot of time for team building, and yet we try to make sure that the drills we do, the exercises, even the warm-ups are specific so that the guys can come together, have an opportunity to talk to one another, and get to know each other better. Because in the end, the closer we grow together as a group, the better we'll perform. And the goal this year is not only to create that respected club that people want to play for, but also win some championships and be successful on the field. We were so close last year, did a great job, but I feel like the coaches now have a better understanding of what it takes to win in the league, and we're going to do our best to do that.
Yeah, you talk a lot about the club becoming respected and kind of looked at and like a place where players want to come play. I guess, what is your goal for Tulip City to become in the next 5 years or the next 10 years? What do you see it becoming? What do you want it to become? Not just, I guess, for you, but like, I guess, just the city of Holland, for you being a resident of Holland, for you working here at Holland High. What do you want the club to become in the long term?
Yeah, well, in the next few years, I want to just make sure that the club is sustainable, that every year there's a Tulip City United, that people in the community will know that come May, they can start going out to the field, looking for tickets, looking at social media, and finding the team preparing for the season. Beyond that, you know, I think one of my goals is this community is such a strong soccer community. I feel like in some ways it's a bit fragmented with clubs and community recreation programs, different groups, and I would love to see Tulip City United become sort of a unifying entity that kids in the community who may not have the resources, the money to travel and pay large fees for clubs, a place where they can go, they can play high-level soccer, they can grow, and then give back to the community in their play, in their leadership, and their responsibility, their citizenship. I would love for Tulip City United to grow a youth program that will support all kids in Holland, and then have that grow eventually into a club at the upper levels that are competitive at the state level and that compete for open cups, and maybe in the future, you know, look to not just a summer season, but maybe a spring, fall season. Again, something more sustainable. We'll see.
Yeah, and I get what's it. Hearing you talk, it's a lot like Matt Davis, and I feel like you guys have the same vision for the club. And what has it been, I guess, working with Matt, who kind of has that same vision as you and kind of wants the club to be very community focused. When you talk about all kids, it's you very much want it to be for all of Holland. You want it to bring not just, or even the Zeeland area and all those areas, to bring, it doesn't matter what your background is, together into one place where everyone can be community. What's it been kind of working with Matt behind the scenes when you guys kind of do have those same goals?
Yeah, I remember the conversations about a year and a half ago when we were talking about starting this up, how to do it, and luckily Matt is a visionary. He does a great job of supporting and helping the team be successful, and I think his vision is very similar to mine, and now that's grown to a board. You two have been to the meetings. You've been there. Coach Holland, Matt Van Zetten, a number of people have come together to help this club grow. And I feel as though if we are as successful as I hope we can be on the field, that will continue to grow, because we're going to gain support. People are going to want to see what's going on. The Holland Sentinel, local media, has done a great job of showing the community that we have a very strong soccer program built with players from the area, not only outside of West Michigan, but from Holland High School, from Holland Christian, Zeeland, Benville, and I think it will continue to grow if the leadership continues to make strong decisions for the community. And I think Matt Davis is going to do that.
I think it's been special for me working at the club, because it makes my job a lot easier too. When the club's so community focused, and I mean it's not like me pulling teeth for me to tell Matt, hey, I want to do a kids clinic, or I want to do this. It's like, yes, right away, because like that's his goal, is I want it to be community focused. And at that point, maybe sometimes we maybe should focus on the money a little bit more, but I think we just like, hey, it's for the community and we care about growing it. So I guess back to soccer a little bit. What players on the team this year are you really excited to see specifically return? I know you have previous relationships with a lot more guys this year than last year. Last year it seemed like a lot of the players, maybe just Michael and 2 or 3 were players you've coached in the past. What is it like having a lot more returning players this year?
Yeah, it's great, because I feel like I know what they bring. I have a much better understanding of our returning players and how they can help the team in their different roles. But as you just mentioned, there's so many players that are exciting to get to know. Kirby Eggers was a rival for years at Holland Christian, and he scored a ton of goals against us. But now to have him on my squad and learn about him as a young man and appreciate his skill, that's been great. I could say the same for Blake Barrios and Marcus Lugo from West Ottawa. Again, remember those guys when they were out on the field running around against my teams, but it's been a privilege and a pleasure getting to know them as young men. But I mean, we have some other players that are just fascinating, like Rakundo Emmanuel. I mean, he's just came from Grand Rapids, and just the nicest kid, hardworking, from Ghana. Great touch on the ball, great instinct, and getting to know him is just been great. Along with Josh Cook, plays for Davenport. He's from Birmingham, England, and he just brings a totally different perspective of the game. And again, the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And I could go on and on, because we have a couple guys from Brazil who are lights out in talent, but again, they have assimilated into this team. They've become a part of the team so easily. It's really impressive to see. So a lot of personalities, and if I'm talking personalities, it's hard not to leave out Jake Lyon and Seth Walters. Those guys probably have too much personality. but they keep things light. They keep people laughing, and it's a fun way to spend an afternoon. I love training sessions as much as I love games, and it's again the greatest hobby in the world.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. There's so many different personalities, and I mean, Facundo is freakishly fast. He almost seems slow at times, and then out of nowhere, he just sneaks up and steals the ball from you. It makes no sense. Josh fits that British stereotype sometimes. He's that strong foot CDM, but he's so good at organizing. I've never played with a player that's so good at just telling people where they need to be. And not even like some players I play with, and I'm just like, they kind of do it in a
abrasive.
Abrasive way. Josh does it like in such a nice way, but he's still like telling you hard at the same time where to go, which is so interesting.
He gets away with a lot with that accent.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So it's been really special, kind of meeting all these different personalities, and it's kind of crazy how they've all kind of almost mixed when everyone kind of comes from their own different backgrounds, and having the Arianos on, I mean, playing against them last year and now getting to know them a little bit more. There's such nice guys and such talented players too. And Jack, I didn't even know he played at Holland High. He's one of the best players I've ever played with. He's so good. He's so good. So I know it's been really special playing with the team. I guess, what is your goal for the season? Where do you hope for this team to finish at the end of the season? Not just in the standings, but what do you maybe want the guys to learn or experience throughout the season?
This is the easiest question to answer in this whole podcast so far. You know what our goal is, Paulo. It's the same goal that we had last year, only this year I think we have a much better foundation. We know how it's going to work and what it takes, but the goal is to win our division. And then when we play the crossover championship, to win the championship trophy. Our goal is to win the adult state cup open. Our goal is to win. I mean, there are a lot of positive things that come from this experience. The friendships, the relationships, the community building. There are so many great things to come of it, but in the end, we're a competitive soccer team and we want to win.
Any questions?
Let's see if anything come to mind.
I've got a question for you two. Mind if I turn it around?
Yeah.
So you've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes in creating a social media presence, supporting the club in so many different ways. What are you getting from this experience? What is it that you find valuable from what you've done with the club so far? I'm going to ask you first.
All right,
Matthew.
So, I mean, right now I'm in my internship. You know, I just finished college with a bachelor's in sports communications. So doing this is like, it's just building my portfolio, my resume. Right now I have a lot of work to show of what I'm doing on social media with animations that I've done for the podcast, newsletter graphics that I've done. Just right now shooting and about to edit some video, some behind the scenes stuff. So just like getting the experience out of it and just making sure that you know, I'm putting my best foot forward in everything that I do here at the club, and making sure that I'm treating this like an actual job and like a profession, like I'm actually in a professional soccer team. So I think just getting the experience and getting used to everything and how fast-paced sports are, I think it's a great experience.
Nice.
Yeah, it's honestly been a fantastic experience. What I've loved the most about it is the amount of empowerment that Matt Davis has given me. I mean, pretty much any project that I tell him I want to work on, he says yes to. Like starting this podcast or doing the kid camps, or when I asked Brian if I could take over the social media, he just kind of said, yeah, of course, you can do whatever you want. So it's been kind of just like, do whatever you want and just make sure you're doing a good job at it. And I mean, I've learned so much, and not just, honestly, just through YouTube, just like what video editing platform should I use, what's going to help me have this post blow up? Is it, what time of day should I be posting it? what format should I be using, what should I be putting in the description, what's going to engage people. So many things that I wouldn't have thought of beforehand, I've been able to learn from this internship, which has been huge. And then I've also kind of flipping the scripts too, just to me appreciating. I think last year I played for the club and it was like, oh, show up to practice and just practice and then go home and then just go to bed and just go to and you just don't even think about the work that goes behind setting up for trainings. Like today we had media day, like planning out what we were going to do for media day, writing down questions, making sure I'm texting people to make sure that all the props are coming and everything's coming, and I show up 30 minutes before to set up, and all the stuff that like you just wouldn't think of if you're just a player and you're just showing up to play. Like when working the last game day, I just didn't realize how long it took to set up those stupid banners in the front. It took like 40 minutes to set up those banners. So it's just, I mean, it just has given me such more of appreciation for the people that work for the club, and I've also just learned so much. And I mean, my goal is to hopefully be able to work MLS one day. So I feel like I've been able to put a good amount of stuff on the resume. Our Instagram's been growing a lot, and I feel like I've been doing a decent job with that. So I mean, I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like I can show that I've been doing a good job at it too. So that's kind of what I've been taking away so far.
Nice. Great. Thank you very much. Hey guys, listen, I'm balancing soccer and family life, so I'm probably going to have to split pretty soon because it's getting dark here, and my wife's probably wondering where I am. And like I said, I want to stay married. So I really appreciate you allowing me to do this.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Thank you so much, Coach.
Man,
and
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, and it was great.
Go Tulips.
Go Tulip City.
Go Tulips.
Again, subscribe. See you guys soon.